Hi, this is Mahesh Ravi, and in this video, we try and create a very interesting 3D website using Spline and Wix. So let's get started with it. So the process how it works is that we're going to create a 3D model. We're going to take it to Spline. We're going to add some interactivity into it. We are going to take it to Wix and then finish our website there. So Spline is a really interesting tool where you can create 3D interactive experiences online. You can download the app to your desktop, or you can use it in the browser itself. So you click on, you sign up and you log in with your email ID, you will get access to the Spline platform right here. So before starting, we can actually create models here in Spline, but we're going to create a model somewhere outside. We're going to bring it to Spline and we'll work with it. So for that, I'm going to use Adobe Dimension. So let's go to Adobe Dimension. Go to a new project and we will choose a preset shape which is available in Dimension. So I'm going to take this coffee cup. And once we have the coffee cup right here, so you can see that the coffee cup has two parts, two components in it. There is the cup and there is a lid, which is absolutely fine. We're going to select the coffee cup, the main folder, and we're going to export this as a 3D object. So we can export the selected models into any format that we want. I'm going to save it with a GLB light because it's a low quality compression, but it'll keep the textures and everything preserved in it. So I'm going to export this. Now let's close Dimension and we are going to go back to Spline. So once we are in Spline, you can create a new file. We are in here right now. This is a workspace. You have your layer palette right here. You have your workspace and you have your properties tab. This is where most of the work happens. So you can see every element in your scene will be listed here. So by default, you have a directional light and a rectangle, which is right here. You can click and select it and you can modify this. You can move it around and all that. So we're going to click delete and delete on our keyboard, and we are going to clean up that scene. We don't have anything right here. And these are the this is a toolbar where you can create shapes which are already available in Spline. So if I click on the sphere, uh, I can create a sphere in here. And if you press Alt on your keyboard and if you move your mouse, you can orbit your camera and you can see that this is happening in 3D space. So there are two views that you can actually choose here. There is the orthographic view, which is the mathematical view. So from any angle, if you look at it, it is going to be mathematically accurate. But if you look at, look via the perspective view, it is going to be more truthful to how you actually see, using a camera or your eye, because all the lens distortions or your iris distortions and everything is going to be there in the perspective view. The angle is also going to affect the distortion of the imagery. So, but in orthographic, no distortions will be applied to it. So depending on the kind of effect that you're looking for, you can change the view to anything that you want. So you can click on this and you can go back to the views. You can click reset and it'll go back to the previous view that you have. So I'm going to just delete the sphere also. And we have to import the model that we already have. So I'm going to click on the import button right here. And we are going to import a 3D model. We can import a lot of other stuff here as well. So I'm going to click on 3D model. I'm going to choose the untitled GLB file that we just exported from Adobe Dimension. So we have it right here. So we have in our scene, we have the camera that is also exported from the dimension. We don't need it. I'm going to hit delete that. And I'm going to drag the coffee cup back into the lab and I'll load the untitled, which already came, from dimension. I just need the coffee cup to be there. So we have it right now. Let's switch to the perspective view, and you can adjust your zoom, the viewport zoom, by using your middle mouse scroll. We can also change the angle and view of this to see it in actual 3D as well. So we have in the coffee cup layer, we have the cup and we have the lid. These are two different layers, two different shapes. Now, once we have it, now we're going to do some modifications here. We're going to add some textures to it. So let's go and do that. So we will select the curve first. We have to give some texture to the cup. There is a default paper texture which is there in the cup. So if you go down here, this is the properties of the cup, and if you scroll down, you can see there is the material tab right here, and this is where you add the material. Now the material editor is slightly different in Spline from almost all the 3D platforms that you have used before. So it works on a layering model. So you can keep adding materials into this layer stack and it will behave as it, just like imagine Photoshop layers, right? So you can change the blending mode of it and you can keep adding up different properties of textures onto this layer stack. So currently it has a color, it has an image slot, and it has some lighting which is affecting this. So we can modify these things. So instead of the basic color here, I'm going to just click on this color tab and I will change this to something which is sort of like more coffee-ish. So we have that right now for the cup. Currently it is not visible because there is an image layer on top of it. So we're going to just move it above the image layer. So we can now see the image, the color actually is there in the image. Now, this image layer, it's not required. So if you want to actually apply an image texture onto it, we can use it, but it's not very relevant right now. So we can turn it off. So this will not be even active in here, but we can actually use it to add some textures into this cup. So what we're going to do is we're going to click on the image and we are going to load an image. So let's click on some images that we already have in the Spline library. And we have a couple of textures here. There is a brick texture. There is a grass texture. There are, I think, two grass textures right here. I think we can choose something like this. So you're going to click on this and we have the grass texture which is applied to this right now. We cannot see it because the color is now on top of this. So let's bring this just to quickly see that the grass texture is applied on it. Now this doesn't make much sense because this is a coffee cup and doesn't require a grass texture. But just want to show you because this is how you can actually apply materials that you already have in your system to your 3D model. You can change the projection on how this is going to look like in your design. So there is cylindrical, there is planar, there is also something like a triplanar thing, which is more, tighter here. So yeah, so that's how textures basically work. So you can use that to apply textures. You can also use it to create a depth or textures in your design. So for instance, if you go to lighting and you can see these options here for the lighting material that you have something called a bump map. So if you change it to the image that we already chose of the grass, it's going to give that bump texture of the grass to the shape that we have created. So if you want to do things like that, you can use the image feature right now, but we're not going to go there. So we're back here. We can delete the image. I don't need the image. We just have this color and we have a lighting layer just right here. We can keep clicking on this. We can keep adding different layers. So if you click on this arrow, you can change what is the property of that. Is it a lighting? Is it an image? Is it the displacement? Is it the noise that you want to apply to this layer? All of those things will be possible. If you select noise, you can see that there is a noise filter that is applied to it. And you can click on this icon right here to multiply that. So that noise texture that we added will be multiplied and will be applied into this material. So this actually works. The noise filter is actually working. I'm going to add one more effect into this, and that's called the Fresnel, which basically gives you this sort of like an edge bounce. So I'm going to go here, I'm going to reduce the opacity of this to 60%. So I just need a very mild Fresnel text effect here. So we have that material figured out. So that's how this works, right? So we have the scene in place right now. This is what we want. Now the next step is to sort of create an interactive, a 3D interactivity. Once you are done and happy with your 3D model, you can create a behavior and you can trigger it with an action. So we're going to first set up the behaviors. So we'll do it for the lid, right? This is the behavior that we have to set. So when you click on the lid and if you go up, two parameters here. One is called states and events. So state is the different behaviors of this particular shape, and event is what triggers that state. So event is sort of like the trigger. So when you tap on the page or when you scroll the page, these are events, and what will happen to the shape is what the states actually mean here. So we're going to define a state. When you click on this button right here next to states, it will show you two states. So base state is where nothing is happening, it's idle, and a new state is created right here. In this state, you can choose a behavior. So I'm going to say that this cup should move a little bit and it should rotate a little bit like that. So this is basically what I want the lid to do in state 1. In the base state, it should be like this. In state 2, it should be like this. So we have defined two states of it, which is fine. So now we are going to go back to the coffee cup, the group layer itself, and this is where we are going to create an event. So we're going to click on the event and we're going to say that what is going to trigger this. So by default, it is set on start when the animation page starts. But instead of that, we will actually change it to mouse hover. So somebody hovers over your, model, then what should happen? So this should transition to the next state. So we're going to add transition here. So action is transition of coffee cup. So for the lid, so we have to transition the lid because in the coffee cup, lid is the only one with two states. So we're going to choose the lid and we are going to go from the base state to the state which we defined later. And we can actually set up the duration for this. So it doesn't have to take 1 second. We'll put it like 0.50. And you have the animation style. So it's just like in Figma, we had auto animate and all that. There are so many animation options right here. Ease in, ease out and all that stuff. So you can change it if you want, but I'm just going to keep it like this, right? And we're going to come back to this. So when in mouse hover, this is going to happen. So now let's click and play this. So we have the scene, and when somebody hovers the mouse, the animation is going to play like that, right? This is how you create a behavior. So once you select this, you can see that the background color is gray, but I don't want the background color to be visible. So I am just changing that to 0. So you will get this transparent grid thing. We just want this shape to be active. So now if you click on export, and you will get the embed link right here. So you can click on the update public URL. So any modifications that you made into your scene will be updated here. Copy the embed code, and now you can go into your CMS of choice and you can embed that right there. I'm in Wix right now, so I created a new page. I just click on this and embed code. So we can paste the code that we copied from Spline. Just update this and we have the scene going on right here. Just scale it up and we have that scene. So now if you click preview here, you can see that it's working on your website. You can remove the logo of Spline if you buy the premium version of Spline. And you can get more export options also in the premium version of Spline. But this is how you can create a 3D live. And this is a separate layer. So you can see that the HTML section, that the code that you have added is one layer, and whatever you add, you can actually put either on top of it or below it, and you can create an immersive website.